You just want to rename it to Claire
System? Oh,
or just UL System?
don't go on there.
I'm not even gonna put your name, I'm gonna put your address, everything. You can contact me at. All right, so back to where we were. Which I will turn that off for right now while we're doing this. Okay, so the best route, the best way to do this. So I'm gonna turn it on. So you'll see the front screen. Okay. When they start, just actually you can leave it. But what we'll do is
Just
all right.
leave it.
Well, so this is good. Um, Yeah, thinking about it because. Oh, I'm processing this. Give me a second.
Take your time.
Um,
Can't process
so,
with you tonight.
so what we've got is. Um. First off, you'll need to go to share it. So. Share screen. Share application. So what this will now do, share. Is this will now share to YouTube. So
Good morning.
if you want to walk with me real quick, we'll go, I'll show you what it looks like. Yeah, let me show you. All right, cool. So
Okay.
changed. Make sure it's muted, Zach.
It is.
Yeah.
The transcript is picking it up.
Good morning. Thank all of you for your patience. I would certainly relate Keith and I's journey here this morning to be what's somewhat symbolic of Dr. Colorou's last 3 months, but the Basin Bridge was not a bad place to be, but regret our delays. Thank you again for your patience. I now call to order today's special meeting of the Board of Supervisors of the University of Louisiana System. As a courtesy to all, I ask that you please turn off your electronic devices. In a few minutes, we will entertain public comments prior to conducting the interview. If there are any final remarks you would like to share with the board, please complete one of the testimony cards located at the table as you enter this room and return it to one of our UL system staff members. Dr. Colley, would you please call the roll?
Mr. Keith Myers,
Here.
Miss Maria Nachiva, Dr. John Noble, Mr. Al Perkins, Mr. Dana Peterson, Miss Elizabeth Pierre, Mr. Mark Romero,
Here.
Miss Christine Russell, Mr. Robert Salim, Mr. Brad Stevens, Miss Julie Stokes. Thank you. We have a quorum.
Thank you, Erica. Dr. Gallo, if you would please provide an invocation as we begin today's proceedings, and we'll follow that with a pledge led by Supervisor Nachiva.
Bow with me. Lord, we just thank you for being in our presence today. Lord, as we move forward to decide leadership for the University of Louisiana at Lafayette, Lord, we know that you've already blessed this university in so many ways for so many years. And Lord, we know that the best is yet to come. And right now, we just thank you in advance for all the amazing things that you will do for that university, for the students, for the faculty, for the staff, alumni, all the people who benefit and who are blessed by the presence of that. So we just thank you for all of that in advance right now, Lord. We just give you praise, honor, and glory. So Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you. At this time, we'll receive a report from the University of Louisiana System Presidential Search Chair, Dr. Rick Gallo.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. In December, a committee was appointed, and on January 14th, the search committee held its initial meeting on the University of Louisiana at Lafayette campus to begin the preliminary work to find the next president for this university. Input was gathered from the campus community on desirable qualities for the new president. On February 19th, the committee met in Baton Rouge to review applications and determine semifinalist candidates for interview on campus. After thoughtful discussion, the committee unanimously decided to invite 3 candidates as semifinalists in the process: Dr. Hitesh Kathuria, Dr. Ramesh Kolaroo, and Dr. Richard Ludwig. These 3 semifinalists visited UL Lafayette's campus earlier this week. During their visit, they met with faculty, staff, students, alumni, and community members, participated in campus and community tours, and were interviewed by the search committee. After much insightful discussion, the committee unanimously decided to recommend 1 finalist for interview today by the full board, Dr. Ramesh Kolaroo. Before we begin Dr. Kolaroo's interview, I want to thank the committee members for their service. Also, I would like to commend the University of Louisiana at Lafayette for outstanding organization and for hosting the semifinalists, committee members, and our staff. A special thanks to Dr. Erica Calais, who has just been above and beyond the call of duty this week in the absence of Carol Slatt. And so I certainly want to thank Erica for her work on Monday and Tuesday in Lafayette, in Lake Charles Wednesday and Thursday, and here Friday. So please help me give her a round of applause. And the entire system staff, they've all chipped in and have really been amazing this week. That concludes my report, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, President Gallo. We are now ready to entertain any final public comments. Dr. Kale, has anyone submitted public comments?
No, sir.
Hearing none at this time, I certainly want to thank all of you again for being here to work through this process. Before we begin the interview with Dr. Kalaru, I'd like to share with you the framework for today's proceedings. Dr. Kalaru will provide an opening statement. The board will pose questions. Following the public interview, we may enter an executive session to further dialogue with him. Once the interview has been completed and Dr. Kalaru's executive session has concluded, the board will then further deliberations as necessary to discuss any final matters, and the board will convene for discussion and a final vote. Are there any questions from board members at this time? Hearing none, we'll proceed with our finalist interview. At this time, we welcome Dr. Kalaru to the table. President Gallo will provide a little background.
Dr. Ramesh Kalaru has served the University of Louisiana at Lafayette for more than 3 decades as a faculty member, research leader, and executive administrator. Since November of 2025, he has served as interim president, leading a focused institutional stabilization effort that reduced a $50 million financial gap by $38 million while protecting the university's academic and research mission. As Vice President for Research, Innovation, and Economic Development since 2012, he helped guide UL Lafayette to Carnegie R1 designation in 2021 and reaffirmation in 2024, quadrupled research expenditures to more than $250 million annually, and strengthened the university's national standing in innovation and industry partnership. He has secured more than $120 million in external funding, advised more than 100 graduate research projects, and helped position UL Lafayette as a $4.4 billion statewide economic driver, supporting more than 47,000 jobs. Dr. Kalaru earned his PhD and MS in computer science from UL Lafayette and his BS in mechanical engineering from Osmania University. Dr.
Thank you, Dr. Kalaru, for joining us today. Before you give your opening statement, I'd like members of the board to introduce themselves, starting with Ms. Maria Nachaiva at my left.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Marina Chaiva. I'm the Student Government Association President at Southeastern Louisiana University. And I just want to thank you for having me on this committee. It's been an amazing experience. So yeah, good morning.
I'm Robert Salim from Natchitoches, Louisiana, and proud to be here today and celebrate such a good occasion with my good friend.
Good morning. Good to see you again. Dana Peterson from New Orleans, and glad to see you have your kids with you today. You twisted their arms.
Good morning, Dr. Kalaru, Mrs. Kalaru, and your kids. Liz Pierre, I'm represent District 5 from Monroe, Louisiana, and I'm happy to be here today.
Good morning, Supervisor Pierre.
Good morning. I'm Christine Russell. Good to see you all again. And I'm from Thibodaux, Louisiana.
Good morning, Supervisor Russell.
Good morning. Mark Romero, Iberia Parish, Board Chair. It is wonderful to have the Kalaru family here, and Dr. Kalaru, all the best as we proceed today.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman. Got it.
Good morning, my friend.
Good
Good to
mo-
see you here.
Good morning, sir.
Pete Meyer, I'm from Sunset, Louisiana. Just, very honored to accept it. Thank you.
Likewise. Good morning.
I'm Ron Hogan, from Weston, Louisiana and Jackson Parish, and I'm honored to meet your family and appreciate your candidacy here, and we look forward to this process, and I'm honored to be part of it.
Good morning, Supervisor Hogan.
Speaking into them. I'm Julie Stokes, representing the New Orleans area, and I'm very excited to see your family, which I've never seen, and to be part of this. And what an amazing job you've done getting to this point. Just so impressed.
Thank you, Supervisor Stokes. Good morning.
Yes, good morning, Lee Jackson, from New Orleans, and I'm looking forward to the dialogue today for sure.
Good morning, sir.
Yes.
Thank you, members. And now, Dr. Karu, if you would take a few moments to introduce yourself and provide the board with your opening statement.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, President Gallo, and members of the board, and thank you for this extraordinary honor. I'll keep my prepared comments brief. I'm promising. I'm hopeful I'll deliver. But please do know that they come straight from my heart. I want to give a quick thanks and shout out to Dr. Janine Khan, Dr. Erika Kale, Ms. Alyssa Coates, and the team at the University of Louisiana at Lafayette that have worked tirelessly to support all the candidates throughout this process. I'd like to introduce Padma, my much better half. She is a fellow UL Computer Science graduate and has served in the Lafayette Consolidated Government for the past 25 years. Our love for this university is something that we both share. Our twins, Roma and Paresh behind us, are seniors at Tulane, and they are both headed to medical school this fall. With any luck, they'll stay in Louisiana, but you never know. Padma and I couldn't be prouder. They both are our why. I stand here in front of you today because of a lot of people that believed in me. My late parents, my brother who also studied at the university, Padma's parents, and the many friends and colleagues who are here who helped shape my journey. I'm grateful to every single one of them. One of the first things people notice when they arrive on our campus is the beauty of our trees. I agree. Unlike the trees on the bridge this morning, they are indeed majestic. 33 years later, at the university, I don't just know the trees. I know the roots of those trees. I know what makes those trees stand tall and strong every day. My journey at this university began 33 years ago in 1992, when I arrived with about $250 in my pocket and one semester's worth of tuition in the form of a check. My journey, President Ronald Reagan, as I may have shared with some of you before, has said something that has had a profound effect on me. This is the one country on the planet where someone from halfway across the globe, like I am, can come and become an American. That promise became my reality. I became a raging Cajun, an honorary Cajun that I carry very proudly, and a proud American. UL Lafayette has given me more than my 2 degrees. It gave me my home, my family's future, and my life's calling. For more than 3 decades, I served the university in multiple roles, starting as a student worker handing out printouts in Stevens Hall, faculty member, researcher, and an administrator. More recently, as vice president for research, we worked across every discipline, as Dr. Gallo said in his opening comments, to quadruple the research expenditures at the university, expand doctoral education, and achieve our Carnegie R1 designation, not once, but twice. Members of the board, I want you to know something. We didn't get here on the strength of one person or one college. It was a team effort indeed. The College of Liberal Arts and the College of Education were just as essential to that achievement as our colleges of science, engineering, and nursing. Carnegie is indeed a team sport and a team designation. It was also made possible by our colleges of business and arts and our athletics programs, their contributions to our economy, to our cultural economy, and to our community engagement. While my academic home is in STEM, my commitment, if I'm appointed today, is to lead the university, the whole university. Let me paint my vision for the next decade. I call it my Louisiana Vision 2035, a copy of which is at each of your seats. And it is based on 4 pillars. Pillar number 1 is to grow our student success and focus on the whole student experience, which becomes very important, as you know, to make sure that our students are doing good physically, financially, spiritually, and emotionally in order for them to do well academically. Number 2, invest in our faculty excellence and make sure that our staff feel empowered to support our faculty who deliver on our mission, making sure that our students are successful. Number 3, as we do that for our students, for our faculty and our staff, making sure that as a public university, we continue to deliver on our public good mission and continue to maximize our impact on our economy, on our communities, and across the globe. Number 4, these 3 things can't happen if we don't focus on the business of our business, on our financial strength and stewardship of our resources, and managing those very carefully. So those are the 4 pillars that I'm hopeful that I'll have an opportunity to speak to you in greater detail. But as you know, vision alone is not enough, because this past year indeed tested us. When I was appointed interim president on November 13th of 2025, 3 months ago, barely approximately, I turned to our Latin motto that's on the university's emblem. It says, Fortiter, Feliciter, Fideliter, bravely, faithfully, and hopefully. And guess what? All of us have had to draw on all 3 of them. Entering the fiscal year 2026, the university faced a $50 million gap. We chose to confront it head on. Not next year, not gradually, not kick the can down the road. By the end of this fiscal year, we will balance our budget, put in place financial controls that prevent this from happening ever again. These past 6 months, 7 months, we want to find ourselves in a place that we had not been for the past 7 years. And we will do it ourselves, not seeking a bailout from the governor, not going to the legislature with a hat in hand, because that would disappoint you and that would disappoint us. We'll seek support, but we will not seek subsidy. That's my promise. But for that to happen, we needed to work immediately. We needed to protect our students. We needed to protect our faculty. We needed to protect our mission. So we moved quickly. As I said, the Latin word boldly, implementing hiring freezes and spending caps, eliminating roughly 100 positions, including at senior leadership levels, because that's where the money was, canceling non-essential contracts, instituting voluntary salary reductions for senior leaders at the president and vice president's levels, and requiring non-academic units to cut maybe up to 20%, 15 to 20%, while holding academic cuts to about 5 to 8%, because indeed, that's where our mission lies, in our students and our faculty. The result, we have reduced our gap from where we started at $50 million by $38 million, with $12 million left to spare, which we will close by the end of this fiscal year with a revenue generation program. Fiscal discipline will become our new normal. We are fixing this problem at its foundational level, so it never happens again. Bravely, faithfully, and hopefully is what I said. In Louisiana, we know something about Louisiana. Hope is never passive. Hope in Louisiana is disciplined. Hope in Louisiana drives relentless action. That's what gives me confidence, not the numbers. It is what I have witnessed, having been in Louisiana for 33 years. It is what I have participated in going back to 1992. When faced with challenges, our people, Louisianans, South Louisianans, Cajuns, Raging Cajuns, they respond with grace, with grit, and with shared purpose. For 127 years, this university has evolved with such courage, growing from an industrial school to a liberal arts college and now to a Carnegie R1 university. Our responsibility at this juncture is not to just preserve it. It is to prepare us for, and our university and our students and our staff here for the next 127 years, to prepare us for the next generation of our students, of our faculty and staff, and the next generation of Louisianans who will continue to look to this university as a beacon of opportunity and a force for public good. Our responsibility is to strengthen this university and its roots so that our century oaks on our campus continue to stand strong and proud and tall for generations to come. We know this. When UL Lafayette wins, the UL system wins. When higher education wins, Louisiana wins. And that's the trajectory we are on. Let me close by saying this. This university, the University of Louisiana at Lafayette, has opened the door to my American dream. If interested with this opportunity, here is my commitment that I will dedicate every day to opening the same door, wider than ever, to millions of faculty, staff, and students that come behind us for generations to come. Mr. Chairman, Dr. Gallo, and supervisors, thank you. I look forward to our conversation.
Thank you, Dr. Collaroo. At this time, I know board members have questions, and I would actually call on the first question coming from Supervisor Pierre.
Good morning again, Dr. Kalaru. And my question actually touches on something you mentioned in your opening statement, budget constraints. So during times of budget constraints, how do you foster trust, maintain team engagement, and ensure continued progress towards the university's missions and goals?
That's a great question, and something that we have been working on for the past few months under my leadership as interim president. We know that faculty morale and staff morale is low, and that is absolutely the case when times are uncertain, when resources are scarce, people are asked to do more with less, and people don't seem like they have control of their own destiny. But what faculty and staff expect from leaders, knowing that I'm also one of our faculty members, is the following. I know that they don't expect us to perform miracles. Faculty and staff expect us to be honest, expect us to show up, expect us to engage. And that's kind of what we have done. So when I was appointed as interim president on the November 13th, one of the things that we needed to do was to honor a commitment we made when we recruited faculty at the beginning of the semester. We recruited these faculty, some of the most brilliant minds that you can find across the nation and across the globe, with a promise. We said, come to this university, new faculty members, and we will help you grow your research. They had options. They could have gone, some of those faculty members could have gone to MIT, could have gone to Virginia Tech, could have gone to Georgia Tech. These are real examples. We competed with them and we recruited them to the University of Louisiana at Lafayette. But we also told them something. We said that when you come here, we'll help you get your research started. That was a promise made at the beginning of fall. And by the time I got there on the 13th of November, because of our financial situation, we said we weren't able to honor that commitment. So on day one, when you appointed me as interim president on the 13th of November, I turned to the faculty then and said, we will get on that immediately. Our graduate students also were in a similar situation. Again, these are students that could have gone anywhere. We recruited them to the university because we were wanting to maintain and strengthen our Carnegie R1 designation. And graduate students are the lifeblood of that mission. So that day so on that day, I announced on the 13th, on a Thursday, that we will honor our commitment. By next Thursday, we created those accounts, and the following Monday, we loaded funds into those accounts so they could get their research program started. This is what faculty expect from us. They expect that our words match our actions. They also expect that as a university, we allow faculty and staff to do what they came to the university to do. It is not to be bogged down by bureaucracy. It is to help deliver on the mission, which is student success. That's what lights up our faculty and staff. That is what they are in the business of higher education for. But over the years, what has happened is what tends to happen in organizations that tend to be 127 years. Bureaucracy, layers of bureaucracy get layered and calcified on top of each other, such that as a university, we had become internally a difficult place for people to work in, and externally a difficult place for people to work with. So we instituted something that I actually learned from some of our conversations here at this table, here at this same venue, where you had called on us to be more accountable, where you had called on us to establish an improved culture. So we said, here is what we will do. And on the 13th of November, I said, we will issue a rallying cry. Service, accountability, and innovation will be the way we operate as a university. We put those in place. We began those conversations. We established these service, accountability, innovation councils for a dialogue across campus. The smallest of these councils is about 79 people that have volunteered to be a part of it. The largest one is 129. With any luck, I'm going to be recruiting some of you into those councils soon. But the goal is to make sure that we create an environment on our campus where we become frictionless or less frictionful, if that were a word. An easier place to work in and to work with, so that our people who show up every day, making sure that they are focused on student success, can do that without getting bogged by the bureaucracy that has gotten layered and calcified. That's something that we are focused on. So we began a series of conversations, and one of those conversations focusing on mental health. One of our faculty members from the College of the Arts spoke up, and he talked about supplies for students for his arts class. He wasn't asking for a raise for himself. He wasn't asking for his workload. He said, I need to make sure that my students in this class have the resources for supplies of art that they needed to be successful in this class. That is the character of our faculty and staff. The opportunity and the obligation for leaders is for our institution to work for our staff and faculty much the same way as they work for our institution. When we do that, there's no stopping us. And that's the kind of culture that we are focused on, Supervisor Pierre, and I'm hopeful that as we rally and come together to do that, we will be able to get through the issues that we talked about.
Thank you, Dr. Coloru.
Supervisor Hogan?
Dr. Coloru, you have exhibited exemplary leadership in the interim role and demonstrated the ability to simply make hard decisions. As you envision yourself as a university leader going forward in a permanent capacity, what strategies would you use to strengthen student retention, improve graduation rates, and create an environment that supports overall student success?
So that's a great question, and that has been a focus of the administration that we have pulled together in the past few days. So you talked about student success, and for us, that has become a rallying cry. So we talked about, if we were not a 127-year-old university, if we were starting this, what would be the first thing that we would put on the table? And we all agreed that that would be student success. In order for that student success to happen, what would be the next thing that we needed to put on the table? And we then said, outstanding faculty, who are the ones that make that success possible. And then we said, okay, in order for those faculty members to achieve that student success, we need to make sure that our staff feel empowered so that they support our faculty, and then our faculty can focus on our student success mission. So that's the architecture of this modern university that we are building, though it's a 127-year-old university. So more specifically, you talked about student retention. And that is truly an area the university can do a better job of. At this point, our first-year student retention rates are okay, 72%. But as you look at the progression of that, that translates into our graduation rates. Our 4-year graduation rates are not where I want them to be. They are 27%. Our 6-year graduation rates are only slightly better. They're at 51%. That tells you that at the end of 6 years, about half of our students are leaving without a degree, and all they have to show for their time at the university is perhaps 6 years of accumulated debt. That is not a public university fulfilling on its public good mission. So part of our vision for the future is to not only expand our enrollment, which currently I would offer to you is not where it needs to be. As a Carnegie R1 University, we are at about 16,100 students today in our enrollment. That puts us in the Southern Carnegie R1 University in the Gulf South, 22 of 24. We have room to grow, we have need to grow. A typical R1 university in our peer network, in our peer rankings, should be at about 25,000 students. Lafayette, Louisiana happens to be in the epicenter of a recruitment opportunity across the Gulf South. Within 100 miles, within a 200 miles, within a 250 miles, if you looked at the 250-mile radius, we have the opportunity to recruit about anywhere from 25,000 students to 30,000 students, more than we currently have. So we want to turn on the enrollment machine at its peak. That's the first focus. But enrollment without student support is false promise, right? So what we want to be able to do, and we are working on, we have established the Office of the Vice President for Student Success. In fact, at the board meeting yesterday, you approved the appointment of our Vice President for Student Success, Dr. Andy Bendwa, and he and I have been having multiple conversations in fact, my first outbound call on the day you appointed me on November 13th was to Andy saying, Andy, I need you back. We need you back. Because we are trying to now establish a student success system that starts with enrollment, goes on through student retention, student services, and connecting our students to career opportunities. Today, most of our alumni at the university, the first time they meet someone from the Alumni Association is as they walk across the stage at graduation, when someone from our alumni office gives them a pin saying, welcome to the Raging Cajun Alumni Network. I want that to happen not on their last day as they leave the university, but as they come into the university on the first day. If not on the first day, within their first year, so we can connect these students to opportunities with business and industry. In front of you is this one pager that I have that talks about career readiness for our students starting on day one, year one, that translates to internships that we will turn to our alumni and our industry partners, research opportunities, clinical opportunities, co-ops, and internships. So by the time our students navigate through their 4 years, hopefully not 5, hopefully certainly not 6, their 4 years, they have opportunities to get engaged with our business and industry leaders and design their career at the university, their pathways at the university, aligned with jobs that we will have hopefully connected them with while they are still in school. My commitment, the way in which I would want us to measure our success as a university going forward, is that every student that graduates is walking off the stage with 2 job offers, and they get to choose which works best for their family and for themselves. That is a student success system that we are designing, and we are ready to launch it. And do that with the 360 degrees of the student in mind, as I talked about previously, which means that focusing on health and wellness and emotional support and financial support that our students need. Apologies.
Thank you for sharing your vision, Dr. Collaroo.
Thank you, Supervisor Logan.
Thank you, Supervisor Hogan. Supervisor Peterson.
Good morning, Dr. Collaroo. I think my question builds off of the previous one and your discussion about this architecture that includes student success and faculty excellence. And then I want to connect the two a little bit more here. And how would you advance academic excellence while encouraging collaboration, honoring shared governance, and meeting the needs and evolving needs of both students, faculty, and staff? So how do you bring all of that?
I think that's a great question. And for those of us in higher education, focusing on outcomes and the metrics that we want to hold ourselves accountable to, growth, student success, as I've talked about, financial stewardship that I have already touched on, cannot happen without shared governance. And so it is indeed what I believe is that shared governance is a cornerstone of higher education. And that begins with, as far as I think 3 things. Number 1, it begins with respect. Number 2, communication. Number 3, contribution. I talked about respect as the first thing. What I find on campus, on our campus, on any campus, is what we seek as human beings in our own personal and professional lives. We all want to be seen. We all want to be heard. We all want to be valued for our opinions. And that being able to engage folks in, for our experience, being able to engage folks in on our campus in that respectful dialogue is first and foremost. And that is the cornerstone of shared governance. So what we have begun on our campus is a series of those communications founded on respect, understanding that every person has a perspective that they can bring, and especially those that are working those systems and processes. Who better than them to help us design, redesign? If we need to tweak systems, tweak them. If we need to blow up systems, blow them up. But we are now empowering those folks that have insights to bring and engaging them respectfully and engaging them in these conversations. So I talked about those conversations and the communication that has begun on our campus. So again, I go back to November 13th. That was a Thursday. On Monday, for the first time in the history of our university, we brought to the university council, the council of our deans. All of our deans and the university leadership, the SGA leadership, our faculty senate leadership, and our staff council leadership all came together for the first time on that Monday morning. And that began a series of conversations that have been ongoing, not one-way communication, but multi-directional, multi-vectoral communication, so that we have the ability to get everyone's input into this process. The shared governance councils that I talked about, the service, accountability, and the innovation councils that have continued their dialogue, but also reaching out to business and industry. We have, for the first time again in the history of our university, engaged business leaders and community leaders in establishing a CEO council, because I want to make sure that as we redesign and rebuild this university for the next generation, we want to make sure that it is in alignment with our regional and statewide business and industry needs, so that we can make sure that our curriculum, our research, and our workforce development talent pipelines meet the needs of our business and industry partners, both regionally and statewide. Shared governance, at the end of the day, is not only this ethereal concept that we need to work on a daily basis, it also becomes very personal. So I'll offer you an example. As I said, we have made mental health a very big priority on our campus. And so part of disseminating that message was me recording a video, which I thought I did a great job of, until the boss lady, our SGA president, Onyeka, said, "Doc, it didn't land well. It did not land well." And when Onyeka says, you follow. So I said, okay, let me do it again. And we did it again. And sure enough, the second time around, it was better. I offer that as an example because leadership, shared governance is personal. It is based on building conversations. Every single conversation, you earn trust. You exemplify your shared governance commitment. Sometimes those conversations might result in Onyeka telling you, you didn't do a good job. But certainly it's not always when you do the right thing. It is also being able to understand that when you mess up, when you didn't deliver, and when your team tells you, you need to do better, you could do better. You commit yourself to doing better. So when these three things, respect, communication, and the ability to contribute, when those three align, you have a university, you have an organization poised to succeed. And that is the organization that we are building.
Thank you for that. She did a great job on our committee, as you know, and
Absolutely.
pushing us when we needed to be pushed. So
Of
thank you
course,
for your
we
service.
live in her world, as you know.
Thank you, Supervisor Peterson. Supervisor Jackson.
Yes, Dr. Kalaru. From the beginning of this process, one thing has truly been evident to me, and that is the clear support that you have from the community and stakeholders. But I'm also aware that with that support comes expectations, right? So
Yes, sir.
in your engagement with the community, what would you say would be the top 3 priorities that the community and the stakeholders are asking of you? And secondly, how are you going to execute with your leadership style on those priorities?
Thank you, Supervisor Jackson. You're indeed right that I'm honored and blessed to carry, and I use the word carry intentionally here, on my shoulders the weight of, and certainly the expectations of a large number of community stakeholders, both from within the university and beyond. And for that, I'm honored and humbled. But in terms of the top 3 priorities, let me assure you, while we have a plan and we have been working the plan in terms of overcoming our financial challenges, we're certainly not out of the woods yet. And so for the next 90 days, my focus is going to be what my past 90 days has been, which is to make sure that we pay attention and we become very clear-eyed about our financial situation and maintain focus on closing the financial gap. Because without taking care of that, we cannot honor any of our other commitments and provide the resources or generate the resources to support the vision for the future that I have articulated for the next 5 years or even beyond. So making sure that we end the year in a financial in black for the first time in perhaps a decade is part of going to be my number one priority. Number 2 priority is to grow our enrollment and our revenue base, because enrollment is the mother's milk of universities, is what has become very clear to me. If it wasn't clear to me as Vice President for Research, because I was kind of proud of how much money we were generating and spending doing research, but I do realize that that pales in comparison to the revenues that we need and we could generate from focusing on enrollment. So part of our focus is going to continue to maintain the growth of enrollment, accelerate the growth as I've already articulated in my vision, but making sure that we also focus on retention of our students. Going into the fall semester, our focus also translates to making sure that we prepare the university for the next generation of faculty that are coming in, for the next generation of economic impact that we seek to have. At this point, as a university, we are engaged in multiple conversations with various business and industry prospects that are lining up. I mean, Louisiana is experiencing an extraordinary opportunity of economic development wins. $90 billion have come into Louisiana over the past 2.5 or so years, which translate to about the ability to create 70,000 to 90,000 jobs. For every technician, for every operator, for every 6 of those, you need an engineer, you need an accountant, you need a project manager. which is the focus of the university in developing that workforce, the 4-year workforce, to supplement our 2-year partners from community technical colleges and so on. So we are focused on these things as part of making sure that as a public university, we grow our academic and research programs, we grow our focus on student success, but at the same time, we continue to maintain our commitment to our public good mission to growth of our economy. So number 1 priority is to strengthen our financial position. Number 2 priority is to prepare the university for the academic year and beyond by focusing on getting ready for the fall, recruiting faculty, making sure that our startup budgets are able to be allocated for our existing faculty and those that we seek to recruit, and making sure that we continue to generate revenue through enrollment, philanthropy, and so on, which is part of not only closing the gap for the fiscal year, but putting ourselves in a position for the next fiscal year so we have the financial resources and beyond, so that we have the financial resources that we need. But doing all of these in a way, while we are focused on the financial issue, we also have to focus on the cultural issues that I talked about and our own internal challenges with our operating efficiencies, which when we do that right, we don't need to turn to our people and say, do more with less. We would be able to turn to all of us and say, we are doing more with the resources that we have available because we are using these dollars smartly, because we have improved our operational efficiencies. That's the university we are building.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Jackson. Supervisor Salim.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm gonna go off script for a little second here and say that how impressed I was with you and your goals and ambitions when we first had breakfast a year ago. And I think the university is going to be well served with you as their leader. And I think it's the perfect match. And I wish you all the success. The question I had was, you pretty much took over the legislative actions for the university as far as intertwining with the university's fiscal needs with the legislators. Now that you're going to be the president, how do you plan on engaging the legislators and the state officials now and the other stakeholders to ensure that you get the support that you need? And are you going to still do that job, or are you going to pass it off now?
I don't think I can pass it off fully, but for the past 5 years or so, I have been honored to have the opportunity to build relationships of trust with our state, with our legislators and elected officials at the local level and the state level, but also at the federal level. I became the university's cheerleader and advocate for advocacy at the federal level to celebrate our success at the federal and also at the state level to be able to bring the resources that we need. Over the past 5 years at the state level, I've been fortunate to recruit about $250 million in capital outlay, non-capital outlay funds to help grow our academic and research programs and bring resources through capital outlay dollars that will continue to move the machines and construction equipment on our campus for the next decade. And that is a sign of progress. And those resources that I have been able to recruit with support from our deans, with support from our governmental affairs teams, and certainly with support from our UL system leaders. I don't think I have been in any of those meetings by myself without support of President Gallo and our leaders at the UL system. Chairman Romero was in many of those conversations so that we could advocate with strength for the resources that we seek and the return on investment that our legislators would have and our congressional leaders would have at the federal level for the investments that we seek and the return on investment that we produce. And that's something that I'm very proud of. And I would, as the university's president, if I'm put in that role, my first job is to continue to be the biggest cheerleader, the biggest storyteller, the biggest advocate for the university. But we also have an extraordinary team, Supervisor Salim, that we have built both within the university, with our external consultants, as well as with our leaders at the UL system level as well. So I'm looking forward to continuing that, but maintaining those relationships has been extraordinarily valuable. And we want to continue to make sure that those investments, that I continue to make investments and pour into strengthening those relationships at the state level. More recently at the federal level, just 2 weeks ago, we were able to announce that US Congress has made the largest ever investment of congressional investment into the university in our history of $25 million. that support a variety of research and economic development efforts in the area of the design and construction and the manufacturing of the next generation of semiconductor AI chips. So Louisiana has been extraordinarily successful in recruiting Meta and now Amazon as AI companies in North Louisiana. Not only will we be able to support that, but the next generation of AI chips will be designed and built in Louisiana when this federal investment is implemented and at the University of Louisiana at Lafayette, including the manufacturing of those semiconductor chips. The manufacturing of the next generation pharmaceuticals is what some of that $25 million is going to go into, along with investments in AI and cybersecurity. So these are the kinds of opportunities that have become possible because I have been able to build relationships of trust. And when those investments are made, our leaders at the state and federal level know that there is going to be an ROI. But we're going to continue to maintain that with support of a larger number of team members, both within the university and beyond. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Supervisor Salim. Dr. Collaroo. Many occasions when we hold president searches, the board will adjourn to executive session. Unless you have no other questions at this time, I would express that many of you have indicated an interest to continue this proceeding in an open session and not to adjourn to executive session. Unless it's the pleasure of one of you to do so, we will continue this discussion openly. I don't know that anyone else has any other questions at this time or any questions from the public where we've received comment cards. Hearing none.
No, sir.
Thank you, Erica. Hearing none, I would offer that this proceeding has been very enriching. This journey and to this day has been very fulfilling. And I certainly expect that we're going to see many of the commitments that are made today fulfilled. Dr. Collaroo, his team, the leadership at the university have expressed a strong commitment to stand and proceed forward to assure that we accomplish the mission of the university. At this time, can I have a motion?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. I move to name Dr. Ramesh Collaroo, President of the University of Louisiana at Lafayette, and authorize the System President, Richard Gallo, and Board Chairman Mark Romero to negotiate the terms of employment and compensation.
We have a motion by Mr. Myers,
Second.
second by Supervisor Nachiva. Any further questions or discussion? Roll call vote, Erica.
Mr. Ronald Hogan, Mr. Lee Jackson, Mr. Keith Myers, Ms. Maria Nachiva,
Yes.
Mr. Dana Peterson,
Yes.
Miss Elizabeth Pierre,
Yes.
Mr. Mark Romero,
Yes.
Ms. Christine Russell,
Yes.
Mr. Robert Salim, Ms. Julie Stokes. Thank you. It is unanimous.
Thank you, Erica. Dr. Collaroo, congratulations on being named the 7th president of the University of Louisiana at Lafayette. We very much look forward to working with you during your tenure and the efforts that you're going to bring forward to foster great things at UL Lafayette. Would you like to address the board with some final comments?
All right, it'll get there. Chairman Romero, President Gallo, and supervisors, thank you for this extraordinary honor. It might sink in sometime in the next 2 weeks or so, but I'm going to tell you, thank you from the bottom of my heart. I'll work every day to make you proud. I know the university has been through a set of challenging times, but the honor that you have placed in me, the trust that you have placed in me, I want to commit to you that together we will build. I wasn't joking about recruiting some of you to some of those councils. But together we will build a university and a university community that is grounded in service, accountability, and innovation, because that's a university you deserve. I stand in this moment thinking of my late parents, especially my mom, who was an 8th grade graduate when my brother was born, and then later I was. And then she put herself through school, got her PhD, became an educator and the principal of a school. And she was the reason why, and then followed by Dr. Adama, she was the reason why I stayed in higher education and dedicated my career to it, notwithstanding the private sector opportunities I've had. I hope I have made my parents proud, and I hope that I have made my family proud. And then behind me is my other family, my Raging Cajun family. Let's get it done. Let's work together to build the university we have always sought and desired. We have lamented, we have complained, we have bellyached. That stops today. Let's build a university that our faculty, our staff, our student, and our state deserve.
Thank you.
Thank you all one more time. Honored.
Thank you, Dr. Coloru, and thank your family, and I'm certainly happy to see all of you here today with us. Our next board meeting will take place on the University of Louisiana Monroe's campus on April 23rd. Dr. Kerry Castillo, I'm certainly thankful for you agreeing to host us, and we look forward to seeing you up there. Are there any other comments to come before the board? Hearing none, and one last thank you, I would like to thank President Gallo, Dr. Kale, and our staff, members of the committee, who I think were a very special, talented group who brought immense, deep dialogue to the discussions that occurred leading to today, and for the board for their very diligent work during this search. Congratulations, Dr. Kalaru. We look forward to some very extraordinary things under your term. At this time, if we could have a motion to adjourn. Moved by Supervisor Stokes. Second by Supervisor Hogan. We stand adjourned. If we could collect the dice for a photo op.
Yeah.
Yeah.